I must admit that the goal Nagara has of giving everyone superpowers so they can govern their own life without being dependent on others is a noble goal. But I foresee problems because there will naturally be someone with better superpowers than others, and they will most likely try to reach the best place in the world they can. And that most likely will be by saying to the weak that either you serve me or I'm gonna kill you, which will lead to a mass eradication of the human population, which will mean that we actually solve the problem of overpopulation. So it solves it a bit, but this is basically survival of the fittest. So the best one is the strongest one is the one that is to survive. And that is actually not a mentality we as humans like. We prefer to protect the weak, at least some of us does. Some is in the human sense of view egotistically, and the basis says that it's better to get rid of this weak person than to keep it alive. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see what the slate, what's gonna happen, especially when we see the slate blooming in this episode, which basically causes it, causes Shiro and Anna to get a headache. I'm not sure if it's basically because they feel the slate has awoken, or if their powers is getting improved now because the slate has awoken. I'm not entirely sure because the blue, the green, and the gray king isn't affected by it. So it's going to be really interesting. And now that we are talking about the blue, he's actually no longer captain for the blues because he actually got fired by the prime minister in this episode of K. And the reason that the prime minister used to fire him was that the Gold King held the slate secure for 70 years. However, Raichi only managed 2 months before it was stolen, so he is not fit to be a captain of the Blues. And of course, the only reason he is gonna be this bold is because he's in the pocket of the Grey. Because, as you recall, when Siri and Kusanagi infiltrated the Green's party, he was there. So that's why. However, he of course uses the excuse that they are just public service and he can fire them if he wants to. So now, what is going to happen to the Blues now that they don't have a leader? I really, really wonder. Also, Shiro, he's going to destroy the slate. He has found a way apparently to destroy it. And it seems to work, but it seems to be really dangerous according to Yatsugami. But destroying it, wouldn't that mean that he loses his immortality? But then again, Anna, she says that she's okay with giving up her powers if it meant that she don't have to lose any of the people she cares about, instead of just keeping her powers, so and then losing a lot of people she cares about. However, the Blue King, he want to keep the slate, basically find a way to basically lock it down so it doesn't give people superpowers, so it can be governed, because the world of K is built upon it, or the nation that K takes place in. So losing it would cause a huge chaos, and I can understand his point of view. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see the next episode. Also, I like Yatsugami getting jealous over Shiro patting Neko, and then when shall we say Shiro talks to Yatsugami, Neko doesn't understand why Yatsugami is jealous. She can basically not read the atmosphere. It's so funny. However, what's not funny is that Neko, she actually is a bit afraid that if Shiro he finds out about her past, that he may not want her anymore, because when he talks about Nagara basically looking into Neko and finding out that her real name was, let me see, Miyabi Ahmad. She tells Shiro, "I'm your Neko, I'm your cat." So she really don't want him to basically leave her. Then again, she is most likely in love with him, so that's understandable. But what can be in Neko's past that may would cause Shiro to throw her away? I really don't know. Also, the Silver Clan, they finally gets a symbol of their clan this episode, and they also get a name for the clan, Hakumaito, it's called, and that means white rice party. And I like how Yatogami, who picked the name, actually found that got on the name. He looked at the rice cook machine, and then he basically was like white rice, and then white rice party. So yeah. And at the end, man, I like how the blue, he is basically like, I wonder how long I can last, but I'm gonna run until I burn out. Then we hear what's called Mikoto, the previous Red King's voice. That is so unlike you, because that's actually a reverse situation. Because he basically tried to stop what's called Mikoto from burning out. So now he's trying to do the same thing as Mikoto, and that goes against his principle because he is the king of order, while Mikoto was the king of fire. So yeah, really good episode, really good. And with that, guys, have a good day, good night, wherever you are, and I will see you later, guys. Cheers.